to the oh, sorry. Welcome everyone to the Pantheon. I'm Ray.
I'm Evie.
And Evie, what are we looking at today?
We are looking at um yeah, that you know what? Yeah. Solo.
That's right, Solo,
I'm
starring
like, okay.
Mario Van Peebles and Adrian Brody. Here's the thing about this movie, which is sort of cool, because Brody, again, this is when he started off his career, so he wasn't well known. But later on, he would go on to win the Oscar, like 8 years later, to win the Oscar for The Pianist, and then he became a dramatic actor.
Yeah.
And like literally, like 8 years after that, he went on to do Predators, plural, like the movie Predators, and he got ripped like Solo. So this kind of goes full circle for him in that sense, and that's like a 14-year journey for this guy. Yeah. He's been acting for sort of like many 20 years now. Anyways, that's just my little, like, something I was thinking about before we even began, like, because Adrian Brody was sort of, what it reminds me of? Howard the Duck with Tim Robbins. That was his first like major breakthrough film, a film that no one knew that he was in it unless you saw the movie. You're like, oh, that's Tim Robbins, that's what's going on. And then because he's such a dramatic actor or a serious actor or a thespian, right? But you see him in Howard the Duck, it's completely not like, it's just different, right? Same thing with Adrian Brody. He's very, very likable. He's very friendly. He's not, it's not being about culture. It's not about, like the war-torn issues or his. There's none of that stuff. He's actually a very likable, friendly kind of guy, and he's a geeky scientist, and he has all those little mannerisms.
Yeah.
And then, of course, you see Adrian Brody from The Pianist, the worn-torn, Jewish migrant or Predators, or like, all these really big films he started to do, take himself as a serious actor. So that was like really, really interesting for me in that sense. And then, of course, and then the star of your show is Mario Van Peebles. I mean, this guy is like the 90s. So this is like a 90s film. He's a great director. Like, he's an established director. His father, Melvin Van Peebles, black exploitation, like a historical significance. He passed away recently, but like just such a impactful director and presence, both on screen and behind. And same thing with Mario. So what were your thoughts for the movie?
Good movie, not bad. Wanted more. Yeah, it was good, but then I didn't like it at the end. I wanted more, and I was sad at the end. So yeah, I'd give it maybe like a 4 at the end.
I thought, here's what I liked about this movie. There's no real flashback. There's no real montage. Like he becomes this, and it's just like, how some movies sort of build you up and how he gets it. This goes right into the thick of it. Like he is Solo right at the beginning, and he's going into a mission. Now, this is based on an actual novel called Weapon by Robert Mason. He's a Vietnam vet. He did a memoir book called Chicken Hawk, which was well received. This was his very first novel. It's basically about an android who develops a conscious, conscious of faith or of human life, and then he turns on his government handlers and lives in Nicaragua to deliver among the people. Cool. So this is an adaptation to that. And then for listeners who think, well, why aren't you guys doing a comic book movie? Well, a couple years later, after the movie was released, Dark Horse adapted the movie into a 2-part comic book series. So this ended up being a comic book, a 2-issue comic book series. So it is a comic book. So for those who are wondering, like, you should stick with comic books, this is a comic book. It was done, but the movie came first, and then came the comic book. And this was based on an actual novel from a guy who's done war. He's been through that. So this was actually, and the book was written in '89. This is 1996. So this set precedents before Terminator 2. This was out before a lot of big films to compare this to. So one of the things people will compare this to is a lot of movies of its time. Well, it might have superseded those films because the book came out in '89, and it was very faithful to that adaptation. Oh, actually, let me ask you a question. You see him as an ectoskeleton with muscles on him, or they're trying to get his look, like how he'll look like.
Mhm.
So, do you remember that scene?
Yeah.
So, can you tell the audience like what was the thing that made him look the way he was? Do you remember that?
Um, what made him look, well,
Yeah,
all
like
he went through,
mhm.
right? All he
Well, when
went
they were
through
devising his look, like
was,
when Adrian Brody's character and him were like he was sitting on the chair and he saw a
mhm.
commercial.
Mm. Okay, I don't remember that part.
Really?
Um, Hold on. Yeah, tell me your view of it. Maybe it'll come back to me.
He wanted to be like Mike,
Okay.
Michael Jordan. He was watching a Michael Jordan commercial,
Oh, okay.
and he goes, "I
Well,
wanted to be like Mike." Yeah.
oh, okay, okay, okay.
Oh, okay.
Well,
That was kind of that was like one of the funny parts of the movie. You only want to be like
oh,
Mike.
okay.
So yeah.
It's all
Okay.
good though.
No, it's close. It's all right. No, yeah, that was the only part that was kind of funny because like they were looking at she looked like Chinese or this,
Okay.
and they made this. Okay, you could say slightly racial thing. They go, well, he's too short. Not that it would make any sense because he's a robot. He can't change his
Mm,
size. But then he sees a commercial, be like Mike, and then he goes, you got good taste, and he so then you see him again with skin on it, and he's the bald headed
mm,
Mario Van Peebles. So
mm.
thanks. Did you find humor in this? And did that help, like with the movie, or no?
I don't think it did. I
Mm-hmm.
don't think, it's, because you have one movie and then the second movie is all about killing and this and that. And yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it's either one or the other. I don't want to listen to, I guess, people killing, and then the second part. So yeah, I'm still focusing on it, to be honest with you now.
Well,
It
it's
was,
all about the killing for me. Like his whole purpose of being there was to take out a villager from building an airport for the American government. Then he turns on his handlers. He helps the villagers out who are, and again, these Nicaraguan like militia group is trying to kill people for their own purposes. He tries to kill them. His
mhm,
handlers are trying to kill him. So there's a lot of like murder, if you want to call it like that. So there's this entire theme is about trying to like self perseverance.
mhm,
That's his whole. That's the reason why he went rogue, and that's the reason why this all went the way it went down. So I mean, in terms of having a logical thread to it, there is a logical thread to the whole thing, but um, it 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 didn't do too well in the box office. I mean, it only scored like 8% in Rotten Tomatoes, which means it was not fresh. It was rotten. Um, you know, for that, I can't fault it because it's based on a very simplistic story, and because of that, I don't think it did too well. And I think because we compare this too much to a lot of movies that it's based on, like Universal Soldier, which came out a year before that, um, uh, Predator, which is definitely an homage to Predator, especially with his laugh at the end and how he tries to laugh and have an emotion. And then in 1991 we had Terminator 2, and
yeah,
so about him trying to connect with a little boy, and
mhm,
then in having an emotion, what's laughter, and trying to understand like what is laughter and comedy, and I can't cry. So those all the little tropes you would see, it's all being rehashed for this film. So you're looking at this, and it's taking various little tidbits from various different films of the 90s and trying to make it work together in this movie. And it doesn't have that skill set or
mm,
um, that finesse, because it's too much. It's baking on too many different things that people have seen, and there's
mm,
nothing original. So that's where I think it really should have excelled. Even though it's from a book, they should have whoever did the screenplay for this. Who was it? The screenplay was done by a guy who's done a lot of B movies, so there isn't much strength behind that, and that's the downside to it. But in terms
mhm.
of the physical look to it and the budget in terms of these explosions, I mean, it's there because it's a 90s movie. It really has that 90s trope. So um, do you think it's where do you does it have any kind of John Wick like familiarities to you in this movie?
Mm, yeah, there's killing, which is okay, but
Right.
just killing, killing, killing.
Mhm.
Would have liked some emotion, but
Oh,
that's
killing you with emotion.
yeah,
It's like,
yeah,
what did I say? No.
all you're doing, right?
Yeah.
But that's so
Mhm.
yeah, after it was good, but
Mhm.
at the end it's just killing.
Yeah.
That's
End of a hard day. It's just the way you got to go.
exactly.
Okay. Well, on that note, we got to go to. Well, I'm Ray.
I'm Evie.
We'll see you next time. Take care.